Welcome to Relationship Episode 1, The Initiation into Parenthood. Brought to you by the Clay family. Charles, this is my sweet queen bee, Brandolyn, and our little lovely princess here, Sophia. So, we're happy to share a bit of our initiation into this beautiful gift of parenthood. So I'm sure many of you either have that in your vision or you're already there and joining us on this amazing adventure. So feel free to share your initiation, love.
Yeah, it is such an incredible journey becoming a parent, and we both went through massive changes and shifts on personal levels and also together as a couple. And our little girl right now is just 3 months old, so we're just coming out of the cocoon of a lot of these transformations in ourselves. As far as my own personal journey, I'll start with that. I really feel that I died 1,000 deaths on my journey to giving birth. I had to let go of so much. The place I was living, the community that I had in the Bay Area, the work that I was doing, the 2 businesses that I was running, and all these things that were the ways that I experienced my relationship with the world and my engagement with life massively had to change because they just don't fit into the daily responsibilities of caring for this little angel and of being a mom. So during my pregnancy, it felt like this sort of descent, into the earth plane and into being like more integrated into the earthly element than I ever had been before. I used to feel more like ethereal and cosmic and star being in my nature, and so it was like this deep union with the earth, feeling the creation of life, just growing inside of my womb every day. And I feel more grounded than I ever have before, and more of like an earthy mama, and that's a beautiful piece of it. And along that way, I kept thinking like, wow, how far down does this descent go? Like, how deep does the surrender go? Because it just felt like it was going on and on and on. Like, I changed my last name, let go of my maiden name to get married and to become one unit of family, all with the same last name. And my cat died just before we moved here, where we live now in Austin, Texas. And I had to say goodbye to this guardian angel kind of relationship that I felt with him. And like I said, my home shifted, my work shifted. So the initiation into parenthood for me felt like a total deconstruction of my identity. Like all of the pieces of myself were taken apart like a puzzle piece and re-spun around on the grand wheel of life. And now they're still just coming back into another shape. I'm very much in a reinventive and recreative and becoming state of being as I am a mom, and integrating all the things I've ever been and the authenticity of who I am in my personal life and in my professional life, with now being a mother. And it's been so beautiful. Is a love like no other that teaches us so much refinement on all levels. And there definitely was a big death and rebirth of myself in order to give birth to new life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's been amazing witnessing your transformation in this journey, and ever since I was a young lad, even like teenagehood, I had a deep knowing that I would someday be a father. And since then, as I've grown, it's been always this very high pedestal of like my highest honor as a human, both partnership and to be a father. And so, you know, it only took me about 40 years and it took that long to do some deep inner work and deep healing on the patterns, the old programs, the aspects of myself that I get to heal, so that moving forward into new generations, that doesn't have to be carried forth. And so this journey really, even meeting my queen bee, which is another story for another episode, is like just seriously accelerated all of our dreams coming true. And so we got to use our own personal practices and sex magic to call each other in. And then since then, all these dreams have just been unfolding so beautifully. And with that comes a lot of letting go. And that can be really painful and a lot of resistance along the way. Huh, you are familiar with that. Yeah. And so for me, you know, we basically moved, we got married, we were having a baby, all these things, and then even the death of our cat is like, you know, what would be considered the most stressful aspects of the human experience. And we tackled them all at once, like literally like back to back. And so it was like moving through this rapid growth portal to this initiation of, on the other side, getting to really take on more ability to respond has been one of the biggest lessons in increasing my capacity, and also known as responsibility. And I used to kind of avoid that or have some resistance to taking on more responsibility than I already was because I valued freedom so much. And yet, as I take on more of this responsibility and, you know, get to wake up to these beautiful goddesses every day, it just makes me recognize and remember that with more responsibility comes more deeper meaning to life. And so I'm just really cherishing these moments, and it's been such a beauty to witness Brandolyn in such an amazing motherhood, and she's just made for this. So like our journey has just been falling and rising even deeper in love and through this whole parenthood. And it's important because we get to work as a team, and that's when, you know, we can be in our flow and work through these challenges with some sort of ease and grace, and always come back to deep unconditional love for one another, and that just continues to expand. So it's been really beautiful to witness and be a part of and collaborate.
Yeah, it's been beautiful to witness you stepping into that space of holding so much more responsibility, and also stepping deeper into the role of a provider for a family. And I thought that would be another area for us to go deep on just for a moment here, because, you know, that's been a huge shift, like both of us in our relationship to our work and our relationship to money from sharing as a family. It's been massive shifts in our relationships to our work, our finances, our income, our money.
Yeah.
All because of our deepening of our relationship to each other. That's been a big aspect of surrender that's had its moments of some bumps in the road, for sure, just because
Absolutely.
Our safety, our security comes from our sense of money, right? So I was running 2 of my own businesses, and right now, as a full-time mama, I have both of my businesses put on hold, and they've just kind of been on a sacred pause for the last 3 to 4 months while I'm integrating and as a mother, and healing in the postpartum stage too, and really enjoying and savoring every precious moment with this sweet angel being, and utilizing all of my magic and all of my skills and all of my expertise in the field of psychology now to do everything I can to nourish her brain, to be giving her a secure attachment style, to responding to her cues and her communications, and setting up an environment that's just primed and optimal for her learning, her human optimization. And I'm so grateful. There's no other way I'd rather be spending my time. And like now my day-to-day flow is really within this love triad of my husband and my baby, where before, about a year ago, my life was way more expansive in terms of community. I was hosting events with 60 to 80 people, regularly doing celebrations on the solstices and on the equinoxes and on full moons and new moons, and doing sisterhood circles and doing sound healings and cacao ceremonies every weekend. And so there's a part of me that misses the outreach that I had and the engagement that I had with like a larger community base. Also in Northern California, where I lived for 8 years. And now we're brand new here in Austin, and my world is so full, and it's so fulfilling and beautiful, and it's totally different because it's super zoomed in on the depth of my relationships with 2 people rather than the depth with a community of 200, which I was engaged with and holding in before marriage and before having a baby. So I mean, there's been such incredible work done to my ego structure because of this. When we go out in the world and we introduce ourselves, there's a healthy sense of ego to be able to even talk about the work we do and who we are and what we offer and how we service each other in the world. So I had such a tagline or story of like, yeah, I'm a holistic healer with my degree in integral psychology, and I do energy healings and retreats and sound healings, and I also own a conscious clothing line that helps indigenous women from Peru in producing goddess capes, right? Now, like, because all that's been on pause since I had a baby, that's not true about me right now. Like, that's a part of me that existed, but in present time, it's actually not in my highest truth to say that. And it feels so good to be in a place of, when I'm introducing myself now as a mother, to be like, I am a mother. I've been creating this human, and I'm now nourishing this human, and to just stand in that without needing anything else, without needing to be anything else. And that it was kind of uncomfortable at first, and I'm still just getting used to it, because it's like such a different story than the story I had developed somewhat. So yeah, there's some beauty in that for me, in my relationship to my ego, and to see my ego in this healthy place of not needing any titles or labels to feel worthy, to feel important, to feel significant, to feel meaningful. Like, there really is so much more importance and meaning and significance in my role as a mother and the fullness of being a human creating life than in any other thing I've ever called myself. And so it's really beautiful to be with that, and to be with nature's way, and to feel the refinement of being a mother work me so much more deeply than I've been worked before by all the other roles, in terms of patience and intuition and my own energy medicine, to be giving her that energy that she needs by having responsibility for my own vibration and emotions and frequencies, which she absorbs and which affect her so deeply, right? And how to multitask, how to do so many things at once, and how to be collaborators and partners and function as a team and like continue to find more space when the field feels so full. It's really beautiful just how the natural medicine of life and creating humans is such, it can catalyze such deep inner work for us personally and for our relationship. So
Absolutely. I mean, any entrepreneur knows that even just choosing to create your own business is an amazing journey in self-discovery and self-empowerment in itself, because you meet so much resistance along the way. And so feeling the intuitive hit to shift my business and recreate it in a way that allowed me for more locational and time freedom was beautiful, because now I get to spend more time where it's needed most and where it's most precious to me with my family, and get to create from a space of inspired action in my business and do my greatest work from that space, which took some initiations as well, because a lot of stuff came up for me around deep wounds of not being enough, not having enough, and so having this high standard of how I want to be as a father and a provider was putting all this extra pressure on myself, and became very stressful. And I've noticed the hit of anxiety sometimes, and it would allow me to really use my tools and my gifts and go inward with myself and notice, okay, I'm holding that's showing me where I'm still trying to control and have this tight grip on how I need things to go. And if it doesn't work out that way, then I'd get flustered. So really, it's been a gift, like doing that deep inner work and allow me to come back into full alignment and operate from a place of what's in the greatest good for all. And that place of alignment, that's been my work. And then I get to move that in and operate from that place in my business, which has been such a blessing and hasn't been easy. And a lot of that journey has been unraveling the layers of this illusion of worthiness in relation to my bank account, and just like really pulling apart the threads of just remembrance that we each have this deep intrinsic value that's like can't even be measured in a bank account or with any monetary means, and really tapping into that and remembrance that we create abundance from an infinite source within. So these have all been really powerful lessons along this journey, and then it's amazing to see, after doing the inner work, all these opportunities that show up, the amazing clients that are inspired to work with me on this journey and do the same inner work for themselves. And it's just been such a blessing. And now even more collaborations, more co-creations has really been exciting. And this is just the beginning. I feel like we're just getting started after releasing all these layers of ego and self that no longer serve anymore, and like really moving into a new frontier. Just feels lighter and more expansive, and sky's not even the limit.
Beautiful. Yeah, and circling back to how much our initiation into parenthood gave the lessons and acceleration of our partnership, that's a whole other piece. We were 100% yes to each other, and we knew that we wanted to get married at some point, but when we got pregnant, that point of getting married became sooner rather than later. And so it was beautiful, because both of us had some shit to work through on personal levels about a lifelong commitment and
marriage.
The relationship to marriage.
What marriage looks like for us, and that traditionally how it's been,
Right. So the ability we had to overcome our blocks for our daughter, like the moment she was conceived and, you know, becoming real to us, it helped us to just make giant leaps towards union, towards we, towards together, towards family, towards us, and overcome the programming or ideas we had about needing to have our freedom as a part of our independence, right? Unraveling that whole construct and redefining our relationship to what marriage means and letting it be our own and relating to it in our own way rather than relating to it with the fear of it that we had for a good reason. You know, there's like the divorce rate is 68% or something in the United States for divorce, and so we're against all odds, you know, when we do decide to get married. We're like really going for it despite all the stories we've heard of it not working out, you know, and we're putting those pillars of the good examples and of the relationships, like who we want to become like, on our focal point, and letting the doubt and the fear and all that static and noise in our consciousness just like go volume down and turn up the volume of what you want. And we became so laser focused on what we were co-creating together, what we were building, and what we wanted for ourselves and for our baby and for us three as a family that stays together, that it helped us so much to overcome anything that was in the way of that. And we did rather quickly because of the honoring of each other and of this new life on the way. So that was really cool. Do you have anything you'd like to share about how you saw our relationship transform in becoming parents?
Yeah, moving from I to we has been a huge initiation and so beautiful. Like every layer of commitment, you know, I'm coming from witnessing marriage with my father being married 3 times and divorced 3 times, and seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly in that, and then noticing where that resistance would come up for me in going into the next level of commitment moving forward, even though like intrinsically and deep down I knew that we're meant to be together and choose each other in this life and co-create more life. Still there were these layers to work through, and so I had to unravel the stories of what marriage is traditionally and get to create our own relationship through that. And it's been beautiful on the other end of the initiation, and that, you know, really moving through and into that resistance and noticing where that's coming from, and not needing to carry those stories with me anymore, and getting to co-author the new story. And yeah, it's been just amazing. Each initiation we move through, how we always come back to this place of like unconditional love for one another, and then channeling that energy and sex magic into creating even more dreams and abundance and opportunities. And it's been a really powerful sacred practice for us. And so we were both doing a lot of this work prior to meeting each other, and then coming together, fusing it has been just like really enhanced, accelerated manifestation power. And so it's been such a treat infusing this love into our vision and allowing the attraction of that which desires us is the same thing we desire. So it's been so much easier to attract, as opposed to needing to go out and do. And so every level of the initiation in this partnership has been this huge rewards and golden nuggets and golden linings on the other end of it. And I mean, could write a book just on that alone. And that'll be for another episode.
Yeah, I wanted, are you done?
Go ahead, yeah.
I wanted to share also about how much my relationship to space has changed from becoming a mother. When we first started dating, we were long distance between Encinitas and Marin County. So I would go and we'd be together at our place in Encinitas for like a week or 10 days, usually max 2 weeks. And then I'd be like, okay, I gotta go. I need to go back to my space of sovereignty and independence. And I just love to be in my priestess palace kind of space, doing my goddess rituals and meditating and having that quiet space for focused work. And so I kept needing to have these, I'd go together and then I needed to have a break from being together to like feel replenished in sovereignty, basically. And I wasn't that good at sharing space full time. You know, it was challenging for me to find that space for all of myself inside of a shared space, especially with what I call the distraction.
Very
Can
distracting.
make it a little hard to focus. Our chemistry was just, and still is, irresistible. And especially in those early days, it was like, whoa, a little hard to focus with the excitement of being together. And so once I got pregnant, I changed. Like, I suddenly just wanted him near me all the time. I didn't need that sense of I need a break, I need space. There were times before I got pregnant when we were dating where the vision I had for our home in the future was like for me to have my goddess suite and him to have his, you know, king's man cave den, and both of us really have our different rooms, but we bring each other into those spaces. And it changed so much from getting pregnant for me, of loving to share a bed and of so appreciating his energy nearby, because we were having half of his DNA and half of my DNA create our child. So for his relationship to her and her relationship to his voice and all these things right from the start when she was in the womb just made this feeling of us and we like so yummy and protective and sweet, and my bandwidth really stretched, and the need for my own space became different because I learned how to feel space for all of myself within our shared space. And that is huge for me. That's massive growth compared to how I used to be, you know, or how I've ever been in sharing space with a partner. And yeah, so it's a really beautiful thing to now be co-owning a home and to share a bedroom and to have this harmony and this spaciousness energetically with a sharing space on such a deep level. A closet, a bed, a bathroom, all the things. And before I had a baby, I was very focused on sovereignty and teaching my course Amrita that teaches women about reclaiming sovereignty. And once I got pregnant, it completely redefined what sovereignty even means, you know? Initially, I'd thought of sovereignty as having this governance and boundary over my own ownership of my body, of being energetically full of my own essence and life force energy and soul vibration at all times, so much that there's no space allowed for any energies that aren't mine or that aren't in service to me, right? And once I got pregnant, it was all about making space in my body for the fullness of another soul to incarnate into being a human. So finding that full sense of space for my energy and myself while creating this immaculate womb, you know, literally and energetically, for the fullness of her life force energy and her spiritual DNA to feel an anchor to the earth and an invitation to the earth, with also holding space for what his soul is feeding into that immaculate co-creation is such a different orientation in the world as a sovereign being. So beautiful, beautiful upgrades in the definitions of sovereignty, and finding the sovereignty and unity, and finding the fullness of self and individuation in that space of we. There was such a fine-tuned integration there that really the rest of my life, my comprehension of the individuation or the autonomy or the sovereignty meant needing to be alone, needing to be singular. And I would need to come back to that singularity and that aloneness to get clear in those pieces again. So it's been so beautiful to feel the clarity of sovereignty and autonomy and individuation within this field of we, and in sharing life and resources on such deep levels. And that felt like a huge initiation and really deep growth on so many levels that's allowed a way deeper sense of harmony to exist in our day-to-day flow.
Absolutely.
In life.
Such a short time, we've come a long way. Wow. And so much more to share on our journey, how we called each other in, and how we work through our challenges. So that's what you can look forward to, staying tuned into relationship and how that serves you in your life. We're sending you guys so much love, appreciation, and support on your journey as well.
And a reminder to tune into your relation shaping with all of life, because it's our relationships that shape who we are.
Until next time.
Blessings.